Stand on business, Ginger. Stand on business. Except you marry him, so f off.
I'm not sentimental, but there's something about the way you look tonight. Makes me wanna take a picture.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Imai and this is BeatTv. BeatTv is a series on this channel where we watch an episode of a TV show. It's been mostly cartoons, but you can switch it up if you want to while I put my makeup on. So today I'm actually putting on makeup because I'm going somewhere. But because I'm going somewhere, I can't be like artsy and fun and cutesy and creative. I have to look like I'm not wearing purple on my eyes, so I have to I'm doing the same classic look, but we are going to start to get more diverse with the makeup looks, I promise. And of course, as soon as I go, cat eating stuff, as soon as I go to start filming, my nose is running, which is fun. Today we are watching the final part of the As Told by Ginger series finale, The Wedding Frame. But as you guys know, I had to stop part 2 early last week, I don't know when this is going up, last week, because your girl was having some technical difficulties and life, so I just had to put up what I had. So this is gonna be kind of an extra long one. So let's get started because it is currently 4:08. I gotta leave the house by at least 5:30. Last we left off, Jonas was in the grocery store as Lois was flower shopping for some fake flowers for the wedding after he just saw Dr. Dave pushing up on Nikki Lahore, even though Nikki Lahore was kind of pushing up on Dr. Dave. There's some weird scheme going on in the neighborhood trying to get Dr. Dave and Mrs. Ginger's mom to not get married. Everyone's in on it. And now we're back at school. So back at school, Courtney is in the bathroom stall crying about her money situation. If you watched the last part, the Gripplings lost all their bread because Daddy Grippling was doing some shady business. And Courtney's crying about it, but she's trying to low-key avoid talking about it, even though she does eventually come out of the stall and break down about how all of what the Gripplings has is now gone. And Ginger gives her the advice of tackle this new chapter of your life like an adventure, like a journey, and you guys are gonna come out on the other side. And Ginger is hearing herself say this to Courtney and is like, that is actually some pretty good advice that I should take myself. And I think she's referring to not only her mother's new marriage, but also a new adventure with Orion. So Noelle Sussman, Carl's weird telepathic friend, who slash girlfriend, I really don't know why she was introduced to the series, but go off, I guess. There's probably a reason why that I just don't know. Like someone probably wrote like, oh, well, Carl needed a female friend. I don't know. I don't know. A piece of mail. She also lives in the trailer park where where Nikki Lahore and Buzz live, and a piece of mail gets delivered to her that is meant for Nikki Lahore. So she is walking this piece of mail over to Nikki Lahore's trailer. I'm gonna keep calling her Nikki Lahore. I know it's Nikki Laporte. I'm gonna keep calling her Nikki Lahore. She is like telepathically carrying it, like it's hovering over her head, like Matilda style. And she's walking it over to the trailer, and a dog startles her and she un-Matildas it and it falls on the ground. And the package opens, it's a manila folder, and inside is a VHS tape, and it is labeled Dr. Dave and the Other Woman. But our girlie Noelle, she's a smart kiddo. And she's like, this ain't right. This sounds a little fishy. So in the library, Ginger is sitting there minding her business, and Orion walks up on her and he's like, finally found you. You've been avoiding me. And she's like, I haven't been avoiding you. I've kind of just been avoiding me. And he's like, so what's going on with the wedding? Is the band playing at your mom's wedding or not? And she's like, I don't think so. I've been really caught up with, you know, what's going on with the move and my mom's wedding. Like, it's kind of too much for me right now. Valid. He goes, well, I heard Darren was invited to the wedding. And she's like, yeah, he's my next door neighbor. And he's like, well, that's that thing about next door neighbors. They're always here. She's like, yeah, but that's all it is. He's my neighbor. And he goes, look, okay, well, now that we know the role that Darren plays in your life, what about me? Valid question. And she's like, I don't know. And then he goes, well, maybe we should stop hanging out until you figure it out. Valid. We love Orion, a king. And she goes, well, what about the band? And he goes like, what about the band? And he walks away. And he needs to stand on business because I support Orion. I gotta choose me. Carl and Hoodsey are at the Grippling estate sale. Estate sale, the estate sale because they gotta sell some stuff to get their money back. to pay all the legal fees or whatever from the fraud. Noelle Sussman pulls up to the estate sale to deliver the, because she knew Carl and Hoodsie would be there, to deliver the VHS tape. And Carl's like, I haven't seen you in a long time. And she goes, save it. I have some stuff for you.
I don't know why
I saw that you invited me to the wedding. Thank you. I'm not going to go. But I feel like before the wedding, you should have this. And she hands him the VHS tape. And Carl looks at the title where it says Dr. Dave and the Other Woman. And it's not even giving anger. It's giving betrayal. And it's kind of breaking my heart a little bit.
On second glance, it's definitely giving anger.
So back at the hospital, I guess it's the night of their respective bachelorette parties. They're leaving the hospital, but they're going their separate ways. So Lois, I guess, is going to go home, but Dr. Dave is doing his bachelor party. But it's giving cake and ice cream with the boys and not strippers. Of course, it couldn't give strippers because this is a kid's show, but it's giving like good, innocent fun from what he tells Lois. But now Carl has acquired this VHS tape and he is at home watching it. So Carl is like getting ready to hate Dr. Dave for what he's seeing on this tape of Dr. Dave and Nikki Lahore. Hoodsie's like, hold on a second. Why is there even a video of this interaction in the first place? Some discernment a lot of y'all need to use when y'all watching these TikToks. How are they perfectly timing this tragedy, funny moment? Like, girl, it's a skit. He's like, who would set out to destroy your mom and Dr. Dave's marriage? Why is there even footage of this? Oh, did you see that go directly in my eyeball? And Carl's making his guesses. He guesses, well, first of all, he's like, well, who is that? And he goes, well, Noelle said that that's Nikki Lahore. And he goes, okay, well, who would set out to not want to see your mom married to Dr. Dave? So Carl guesses his dad, Hoodsie's mom, and Buzz. And he's like, these are some good guesses. We got to get to the bottom of this. Thank you, Hoodsie. You're such a smart guy. We love this. So Ginger's on her swing set that's in her backyard that I always forget that she has. And Darren walks up and he's like, hey, thanks for the invite to your mom's wedding. And she's like, well, my mom invited you, not me. It's her wedding. He goes, well, she must have asked if you wanted me there, considering what happened. And she goes, and? Stand on business, Ginger. Stand on business. Except you marry him, so fuck off. She goes, you know, we're moving. Someone else is gonna live here, and I'm not gonna be so close anymore. And he goes, yeah, I kind of got comfortable with the idea of you being so close. And she goes, yeah, well, we're not close, not anymore. I just keep getting things directly into this eyeball. So the boys are starting to investigate who the hell made this tape. So they break into Buzz's trailer in the trailer park. But he's living in squalor, like roaches and just food all over the place, a hot mess. And Noelle sees that the boys are conducting an investigation, but she's conducting her own investigation because she's smart enough to know, like, hey, you're barking up the wrong tree with Buzz. You got to look into this Nikki Lahore lady. So she's in Nikki Lahore's trailer, goes through her drawers, and finds a manila folder with a picture of the real Diane Francis. Mind you, back in the last episode we did, Diane Francis is the name of the lady who used to be Dr. Dave's ex-girlfriend from 15 plus years ago, who Nikki Lahore is disguising herself as to get in Dr. Dave's good graces. Noelle Sussman sees this and she goes, okay, if that's Diane Francis, who are you, Nikki Lahore? Where did you come from? And then that's officially the end of The Wedding Frame Part 2. But the way I broke it up a little bit differently. My apologies, bro. So from this point, we are officially in what Nickelodeon classified as part 3 of the 3-part special. First of all, please excuse my lace. We will be fixing it. I literally had my band on for the past 2 days because I work with white people. So they don't know this is a wig band. They just thought I was wearing a cute, fashionable headband. Girl, no, I did not feel like doing my lace yesterday. So after work, Ginger's mom is at a cake tasting to figure out what cake they want for the wedding. Like I said, this feels like real last minute planning that y'all are doing. This feels like stuff y'all should have got done before. But she's picked a cake, like a pistachio-y cake that she likes. And the cake tester lady is like, are you sure? Try this one. And she's like, I don't know. I think I made up my mind, but I'll have another bite of this other one. As Ginger's mom is trying it, she's getting all hallucinating, feeling sick. They done poisoned the cake, y'all. And she has a lie down in the back room. The bakery lady turns the sign on the door from open to closed, and out of this car comes the the travel agent lady who tried to sabotage their honeymoon successfully, Nikki Lahore, and Dr. Dave's mom. So back at home, Ginger's listening to her voicemail, and Darren leaves a voicemail about, like, okay, we RSVP'd. At the wedding, we want to eat beef and chicken, but he still seems a little, like, on the phone, like, nervous to make the call. And Ginger is saying how she feels like Dodie was wrong. She's not still hung up on Darren, and like, her mom's taking a leap of faith by exploring a new relationship after a failed one. Why can't she? Did I miss the part where Dodie said, maybe it's not in my version of the, like, maybe it's not in my source material that I'm using, but when the hell did Dodie say that she was hung up on Darren? But, and y'all are gonna laugh, I agree with Dodie. Stop the presses. I know. I agree with Dodie. You're hung up on Darren. And that's fine. That's your first love. Whatever. But I agree with Dodie. Put it in the history books, because it's not happening again. So the boys are still doing their investigation, and Carl's feeling a little defeated because they don't know anything more than they had previously known. All they know is that, you know, Nikki Lahore is the lady. Buzz had nothing to really do with it. They didn't find anything at his house. And Dr. Dave is the guy in the pictures. They didn't really learn anything more than they had originally known. So they are breaking now into Jonas, Carl's dad's house, to see if they know anything. And on his desk are the pictures of Dr. Dave and Nikki Lahore. And they're kind of at an impasse because Carl is like, impasse? I feel like that's not the right word. Because Carl is like, see, my dad has a motive to try and split up my mom and Nikki Lahore. Maybe he's still in love with her. He doesn't explicitly say that, but I think that's what's being implied here. And Hoodsy is like, well, we don't know. Like, it's still Dr. Dave in the video. Like, and Carl's like, whose side are you on? Like, he's like, I'm on your side, but it's like, we can't jump to conclusions about people. We can't assume that your dad wants your mom back and is setting this up. Like, we have to just, the facts are the facts. Like, yeah, we have the evidence here of the pictures in your dad's apartment, but what's the real motive? We have to find the motive, because you can manufacture evidence, but the motive is really what's key. Hoodsy is spitting. He's really, like, on top of it today. God bless him. Back at the bakery, Lois's mom is still passed out from whatever... Lois's mom. Oh my god. Lois, Ginger's mom, is still passed out from whatever was in that damn cake the bakery lady gave her. And they slip her ring off of her finger to take pictures of Nikki Lahore in the ring. I guess to maybe show the pictures to Lois after a little bit. Be like, see, my son is cheating. I hate her so much. And, you know, she thanks her friends for being so helpful in trying to split up Lois and Dr. Dave, because it'll be the biggest mistake he's ever made in his life to marry Lois. And she thanks the two friends, the travel agent and the bakery lady, and then she tosses Nikki Lahore a fat stack of money. And she's like, where's my thank you? I'm like, she's like, I pay you. I don't have to thank you. We don't like her, but she kind of ate that one little bit. Simone catches Darren in the lie. Darren lied to her about why he was busy this weekend, but then immediately after was when Dodie said, hey, I can't do this and this for you this weekend because of Ginger's mom's wedding. So she pieced together that, Darren is going to be at Ginger's mom's wedding, and whatever he just said to me as to why we couldn't hang out is a lie. So she goes to my good sis, and I can't help but to like this bitch, Miranda. Remember that cute little hairstyle they gave her with the two big in the last one? She don't have that no more. They gave it to her for one little scene. Y'all couldn't give my sis a new hairstyle for the whole special. She had to have it for one scene. Why'd y'all even do that? So she enlists I'm putting glue on my lash. She enlists Miranda's, oh my god, can't even talk. She enlists Miranda's help on sabotaging Ginger, and you know our girl Mirandy knows all about that. I'm putting on my lash, but okay, I'm putting on my lash. The difference, the way my two eyes look is crazy. So let's see if I could do it while I'm talking. Back at home, Lois almost overhears Carl and Hoodsy talking about infidelity, and they don't think that or Carl at least, doesn't think that she should go through with it. And she like, go through with what? And he makes up some excuse about choosing the chicken over the beef because beef is too fatty, might get on her dress, whatever. But Lois is still feeling super out of it after being literally poisoned, literally drugged. So she goes back to lay down, but Blake is at the door and he propositions Carl because now that the Griplings have to sell their home and move, they need somewhere to stay. And now that the Fatley house is being sold, he's come to ask about the price and if they can come down on the asking price so that his family could live there. If we know him, he really has to humble himself to be able to even ask Carl to do this, just because of their rivalry from all this time. I really should not be talking while I do this part of my makeup. I never do. I don't know why I'm doing it today. But he kind of like collapses into Carl's arms because it is a really hard task for him to do, which he shouldn't be doing in the first place because he's a child. Mama should have came over, but you know, for the sake of the story, of course, Blake had to come. They are at, well, the family, including Dr. Dave's mom and Hoodsy. They're doing the rehearsal for the wedding at the church, and Carl has decided that he's going to let it go for the sake of love, and that his mom loves Dr. Dave. So, sorry, I was trying to see if I said that right. His mom loves Dr. Dave, so he's going to turn the other cheek and let things play out the way they would if he doesn't intervene. And Hoodsy's like, well, what if we don't? And then Dr. Dave's mom is overhearing them, and she's like, maybe you guys should shut up. Back at home in Ginger's mom's room that we rarely see, Ginger's mom is writing her vows, and she is asking for help on what to say in her vows. And Ginger reads them and she thinks that they're absolutely perfect. And then she asks her mom another portion of my makeup that I shouldn't be talking through. How do you know that Dr. Dave was the one? And she's like, you don't? I'm eating. I wish it was in focus. That you don't really know. You kind of just gotta take a blind leap of faith and go based off of how you feel in your heart. And it's a chance it'll work out or a chance it'll don't. But that's not a sentence. But you just kind of gotta trust yourself and trust how you feel in your heart. And Ginger's like, let me take my blind leap. And then she gets on the phone, I assume, I hope, is to call Orion. But Ginger's stupid ass, we'd never know. But she is calling our man Orion. Period. And she starts off the phone call with, hey babe, we love it for our girl. It is the day of the wedding. Ginger shows up with her new man, Orion, and Darren sits right behind them. And Orion is cordial, talking about if my big head's in the way, let me know and I'll move. And it's real cute, real cordial. Hoodsy is the guy at the door, letting people in, letting them know where they're seated. And here comes this whack-ass bitch who I completely forgot we had to factor into the goddamn story. Simone. He's like, are you with the bride or the groom? She's like, I'm with Darren. I'll find him myself. And he's like, Simone, what are you doing here? And she's like, I'm your girlfriend. Why wouldn't I be here? Valid. And the way she says it kind of sounds Miranda-y. And Darren says that, like, for a second, you sounded like Miranda. You been hanging out with that bitch? No, I'm kidding. He doesn't say that. And then Ginger goes to Orion, like, all right, let me go take my place up in the front. And then she kisses her new man. We love to see it. We love to see it. And at the door, Hoodsy is still letting people in. And then guess who walks up? Nikki Lahore. And this is where I'm going to stop for today because I got to do my hair and get ready to go. But as you see, there's time left in the video, so I might look a little different when I come back. It is a completely different day. Let's wrap this up. Also, I didn't change the settings on my camera, but I feel like this looks really good. So Hoodsy tries to stop Carl and is like, trying to tell him like Nikki Lahore is here, but Carl thinks that Hoodsy's trying to tell him to stop the wedding, and he's like, hey, I gotta support my mama, I gotta walk her down the aisle. I've made up my mind, I'm letting my mom marry this man, whatever. And he's not listening, and Hoodsy's like, no, but wait, you gotta, I'm walking my mama. And Brandon Higsby is singing in the back with Ms. Zorski on the piano. It's actually really cute. So the girlies are getting Mrs. Fatley ready. They're in their dresses. Everyone's happy. I can't wait. I'm about to walk down the aisle. So everyone's walking down the aisle, starting with Dodie and Macy, and then Ginger, and then Carl's walking his mom down there, and up there with Dr. Dave is Hoodsy. And Dr. Dave's like, I'm so excited. I love them. And Hoodsy's like, mm-hmm. And when Carl gets to the front, Hoodsy's like, hey, Nikki Lahore is here. And Carl still thinks it's his daddy's doing with Dr. Dave and the tape. So he's like, and look, Jonas is here too. I'm so perplexed by how Carl keeps calling his daddy by his first name. That's wild to me. So the wedding officiator is up there doing his thing. He's a little cringy, but you know, he's doing his job. Buzz and Nikki Lahore are sitting next to each other, and Hoodsy peeps that Buzz is looking kind of sus. So when the officiator is like, if anybody has any reason why these two people should not be together, speak now or forever hold your peace. And Nikki Lahore is like, me? Now see, listen, I dare y'all. At my wedding, first of all, I'm gonna tell my officiator to take that little piece out. But if it so happens that that piece is said at my wedding and someone's like, me, like, I'm looking, before y'all can even open your mouths, I'm gonna look at y'all like, I dare you, bitch. I dare you. And even if you're correct and I'm not marrying the right person, let that be up to me. Actually, I'm watching this whole Risa Tisa I watched the whole Risa Tisa thing on TikTok. If y'all don't know, y'all need to know. Maybe somebody should have stepped in for Shorty. So I'm perplexed, but the wedding is not a place to do this. Y'all should have did that before. So after Nikki Lahore is like, me, Hoodsy's also like, me too as well. And then Ginger's daddy is like, and me 3. And everyone's like, what is going on? So Nikki Lahore rushes up to the altar, is like, Dr. Dave loves me and I love him and look at the proof. And she has her manila folder of bullshit. So she pulls out the manila folder. But in the manila folder, she shows the pictures of them having coffee together where she's all up in his arms. But like, how did she never talked to Ginger's daddy, and Ginger's daddy was the one that took that picture. So how did she get that picture? And then she also pulls out the pictures of her in Lois's engagement ring that they took while they drugged her. And she was passed out in the bakery. So she's like, see, I have a really good reason to not want these two to be married because he loves me and I love him and we supposed to be together. And Jonas is like, yeah, I feel like that too. Like, he a whore. And Dr. Dave's mom's shady friends, the bakery lady and the travel agent, are like, same, I feel that way. Also, Dr. Dave, you don't recognize the travel agent lady? Why is she at your wedding? She's just a travel agent. Like, that's not ringing no bells. And Lois, the bakery lady, that's not ringing no, like, that's not setting off no alarms. Go off, I guess. So Lois is like, Dave, who is this? And Dave still thinks that this is Diane from when he was in medical school. So he's like, well, she's an old sweetheart from college. Her name is, and he's going to say Diane. And then Hoodsy's like, Nikki Laporte. And he's like, no, this is Diane. And Carl's like, no, that's definitely Nikki Laporte. She lives at the Sussman trailer park. And Buzz is like, yup, I know her. That's Nikki Laporte. She lives at the Sussman trailer park. Buzz is only co-signing that that's Nikki Laporte, not because he cares about Lois or Dr. Dave or anything that's going on here. He just wants to bang Nikki Lahore. Why am I calling her real name? Nikki Lahore. And Dr. Dave's mom, is like, why is everyone tripping out right now? Because she organized this, Why is everyone bugging out right now? That's definitely Diane Francis. She used to date Dave. And then here comes my good sis, Noelle Sussman. So Noelle comes in and she's like, that's not Diane Francis. This is Diane Francis. And she comes in with the real Diane Francis. And the real Diane Francis is like, oh my God, Dave, how are you? So they get up to the altar and they're like, well, if you're not Diane Francis, who are you? And Hoodsy's like, Nikki Lahore, we've been saying this. And then Sussman goes, that's not even Nikki Lahore. Rips the blonde wig off. And then on top of that, rips the brunette wig off, and it's Nicholas Lahore.
Nicholas Laporte!
Give that back!
And Dr. Dave is like, who is Nicholas Lahore? Why would you want to ruin my wedding? And he's like, I don't know. Nicholas Lahore. Nick Lahore. It's like, I don't know, ask that lady. And he like points out into the crowd. And the bakery lady's like, don't ask me, I don't fucking know. And then the travel agent's like, hey, not me. Well, the travel agent's like, well, not me. Dr. Dave's mom asked us to help her out. All you hoes was conspiring with this bitch and you didn't even know why she wanted to do this? What do y'all gain from this? Like, we already established that now Nick Lahore was being paid, but what the fuck do y'all two hoes get out of this? You don't even know what's going on. So Lois is like, what's going on? Passes out. Dave is like, Mom, I can't believe you. And she's like, you're so dramatic. Leaves. It's just a lot of wrapping up stuff. Like, Monster comes back, which is Carl's dog. That the doghouse that they were in the whole time that said Monster across the front, this is apparently the dog. And Nick Lahore is like, well, I rescued him as a puppy. And Carl was like, no, this is my dog. Monster licks Lois awake Dave is apologizing, just a lot of wrapping up stuff. So Dr. Dave does the whole, I love you, you and your kids are all I need in this life, marry me. And then they do exactly what they came there to do, get married. Okay, I'm sorry. I know it's supposed to be sentimental. I know, I'm sorry. So Ginger is at her book reading now, the final scene of As Told by Ginger. And she is reading about how, you know, even though all of this happened to her mother was still, I don't want to say persistent, but she was still sure of the fact that she loved Dr. Dave and that this was the best choice for her, and blah, 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 blah. Great. Love, whatever. Let's go through how these older characters look. Carl looks like a skeezy movie director. It's giving Michael Bay. It's gross. And so does Hoodsy, but Hoodsy looks like a himbo, but like that cool himbo that's like in Tommy Bahama and just like wants to eat and chill and have a good time. Like one of those guys, like played high school football and he's just like a really cool, fun guy. Macy looks exactly how I expected her to look, like a not corporate, but just like a mature baddie. We love the shorter haircut. She looks so cute. I love this for her. Dodie's Dodie. she just looks like Dodie. And her baby, was Chet Zipper even in the room, bro? Like, copy paste. But she is giving boring suburban house mom, which is all that I could really ever imagine Dodie being grown looks like. Chet Zipper, he was a dud before and he looks like a dud now, but you know, God bless him, he didn't bother anybody. Then here goes fuck ass Darren with their biracial baby. And even as a kid, I always thought the coloring on this child was so weird. Like, we understand that she's a biracial babe, but like, and like, duh, she needs Ginger's iconic red hair, but the color palette looks weird. It looks weird. And then fuck ass Darren. She finishes up her book. The lesson is nothing worth having ever comes easy. Okay, girl. And we close, and on the cover is a picture of her from the unofficial pilot, the party that we did go over on this channel like a while ago. What we will say is this. Not my battery dying. All right, let's wrap this up. We needed some more, like, there's so much in between her beginning this relationship with Orion and marrying Darren that we should have seen. Like, we should have seen, honestly, I wouldn't have been mad at a scene of Ginger and Orion having a conversation about, you know, I really like you, but I don't know that I'm ready. Like, I still don't feel like you're my person or something. Like, there needs to be like some sort of like something on the rocks with Orion, but then there's still that connection with Darren or something at the wedding. Like, they make a good prolonged eye contact and like, is it a chance? I don't know. Like, there should have been an official breakup with Simone because Darren clearly isn't over Ginger. There was no real, I'm sweating, like, there was no real conclusion with Simone. There was no like hints of, I don't want to be with Orion. I mean, there was, but in the end, she still chose him for at least her teenage years. And then we ended back up with Darren. There needs to be some connecting factor because there's so much. How did she end up with Darren when last we saw she was just happy about her new relationship with Orion? So many things that we could, like, so many loose ends we could have tied up before we got to this point of her with Darren and their baby and the wedding ring. Like, so there's holes. And also, I would have loved to see Courtney and Miranda as adults. I would love to see how Courtney in a cute but modest, very clearly not exorbitantly rich outfit at the book reading, supporting Ginger. Why is Dodie there? Dodie never supported her ass, but Courtney's not there. Courtney, who's been the baddest bitch, especially in season 3, and been there for Ginger since day 1, but especially so in season 3. But y'all didn't want to invite Courtney? I understand Miranda not being there because Miranda didn't even like that hoe. But why wasn't Courtney there? Like, y'all didn't just drop the ball. Y'all didn't just fumble the bag. Like, could have, like, the last 10 minutes of this could have been wrapped. Like, you could have added an additional 5 to 10 minutes in between the wedding and the book reading that could have tied up these loose ends, you know? Like, last we saw Courtney's broke and sad about it, never see her again. Darren's still feeling about Simone, but they still show up to the wedding together. Ginger's feeling about long-term commitment with Orion, and then she ends up marrying Darren. Like, there's, like, y'all could have did so much better, girl. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping. I always tell y'all this, and y'all always are like, you're not tripping that much. But for real, let me know if I'm tripping, because, like, I feel like so many unanswered questions, and then we get to the book reading and it's some more shit. But overall, am I unsatisfied with this ending? Sort of. Like, I think it was a good way to wrap up the series, but the little details were like, how the fuck did we get here? And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. You please do not hesitate to let me know how y'all feel in the comments. Like, I wanted this to be a discussion because I'm just left with more questions than answers, honestly. So let me know and we can have a little chitty chat. I will be responding to you guys on this one. Like, I do usually tend to respond to you guys, but we're gonna have a discussion. And if you guys actually want to, leave your comments, questions, and then I can make a whole, like, you know how like an after show or like a thoughts on the finale video for next week, and we could just all discuss together. You know, I'm sorry about the disjointedness. It's literally Wednesday and I recorded the first part on Sunday, but you will see in the vlog, if it's not already up, the shenanigans that happened that night. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.